And I believe and hope that whatever name that I give to one who helps in this great work, that Allah and His Messenger would accept that name. I believe with all my heart that they will. When Elijah Muhammad was about to be commissioned after 3 years of being with Master Farad Muhammad, Master Farad Muhammad asked him if he would take this big name. It was a big name. He was called Elijah Kareem. And then Master Farad Muhammad wanted to call him Abdul Muhammad. He said he loved the Muhammad part, but he liked Elijah and he wanted to hold on to Elijah. So Master Farad Muhammad did not force him to take that big name Abdul Muhammad. But I think that that's a great name for the true sons.
Yes, sir.
For the true sons of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This brother to my left, I believe is a true son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So I'm going to ask him if he would accept the name, the challenge, and the responsibility of the biggest name that you could get in Islam. Since he's a son of his father, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I would like to ask him if he would be willing to take the name of his father, Muhammad. That's number one. Would you be willing to take that name, Muhammad? We'll come back over here. I ain't finished. Wait a minute. Now, Muhammad is a great name. It means one worthy of praise and one praised much. But I would like you also to take the name Abdul. Abdul means the servant. And I would like for you to take another name that I think describes you well. It's the name of our nation. Our nation that Allah began in 1930 is to remain forever. So the name that corresponds to that which will be or remain forever is the name Khalid. Khalid. And so I would like, brother, to take the name Abdul Khalid Muhammad. Abdul Khalid Muhammad. Now, all praise be to Allah. Now, as you know, Khalid bin Walid was the greatest warrior for Islam. Khalid bin Walid was called the sword of Allah. Now, dear brother Khalid, we are not picking up the physical sword. We are not here to do harm to any man, woman, or child with a physical sword. The sword that I want you to pick up and become the sword of Allah is the sword of truth. And I believe that this brother, if he commits himself to the word of Allah, will be the sword of Allah in this day, as Khalid was the sword of Allah in the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So I would like to ask this of you, my brother. Will you pledge as a son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to lift up his name among the people of America and the people of the earth?
Yes, sir, I do.
Since that name Muhammad means one worthy of praise, will you pledge that you will not make a mockery of this name, that every act that you do, every deed that you do, every word that you speak, every thought that you think should be in harmony with your name and the name of our Lord, our Father, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that those thoughts, those acts, those deeds will be deeds worthy of praise?
Yes, sir, I pledge to do that to the best of my ability, and I pray that Allah will continue to strengthen me to live up even more.
And do you, my brother, pledge that when you do these works that are worthy of praise, that you will not take the praise yourself, but will give the praise to whom it rightly belongs, Almighty God, Allah, and his servant, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who has inspired us to do all that we're doing?
Yes, sir, I do.
And will you uphold this charge till Almighty God, Allah, takes your life from this planet?
Yes, sir, I will.
And from this day forward, this great brother in Islam will be known as Brother Abdul Khalid Muhammad, and his wife will no longer wear the name Paula. She's his mate, so she is Khalida Muhammad. Now that was a marriage ceremony. We are wedded to Almighty God. We are wedded to his servant, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and we are wedded to the cause of the rise of our people. And we pledge to live for the rise of our people until God takes our life away. And even death cannot stop this, because in death, our death will inspire you who live to go on until all of our people are free here and all over the world. Now, what about this house? This that was the Ritz, this that was some other name, this that was a disco, this that was a good time party house, this that is now called Muhammad's Temple number 27. The way the brothers have transformed and sisters have transformed this building is but a sign of what our presence in the Los Angeles community is all about. Our work is not to transform buildings. Our work is to transform people. Because any man that builds a fine building and does not build fine people, those people that you neglected will tear down your fine building and destroy your fine community. The problem with the world is we spend too much time and money building buildings and too little time and money building that which is the real house of God, the people. The people. The people. Every one of the brothers and sisters who have come through this door, we taught them from the Bible and we taught them from the Holy Quran. And their lives are being transformed. We are not here, this house is not here to attack any other religious group, but to work with you, for you, to redeem a people that are surely lost and will certainly be destroyed if some of us who have knowledge and power and means will not use what we have to retrieve those lost brothers and sisters of ours and give them a chance to make a contribution to the onward movement of society and the world. This house is not here to be a plague on the city of Los Angeles.
No way, no way, no way, no way.
This house is not here to train men and women to be opponents and opposers of the law that governs this city or this country. We are here to train our people up to use the law of God and the law of man as a launching pad for us into the highest development of civilized people. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is not an anti-Christian house. We are for Christ. This is not an anti-Yahweh or anti-Jehovah house. We are in love with Jehovah and in love with Yahweh and in love with Allah. These are different names of one God, and we will not be divided by the names of God when God is one. All praise is due to Allah. This house is not to preach division. This house is built to preach the unity of our people here in America and all over the world. Well, what about other people? You cannot unite well with other people until you are well in unity with yourself. Then your unity with other peoples of the world and other people of different races will not be seen as this cheap social trick of you being absorbed into another people, losing your self-respect and your own identity. But as a united people, we will bring to the table our own set of principles. We will bring to the table our own policies and our own power, and we will add to what is there. But when you go from a divided point of view, you go to the table of brotherhood weak, so you end up being a brother to white people on their terms, a brother to Mexicans on their terms, a brother to Indians and Chinese on their terms, because you're too weak to bring to the table terms of your own.
Peace. Once again, his own brother Philip A. Muhammad from Lions Out the Cage, defending the brand. Want to spend some time with you, make a special little video. This particular subject is very, very important. So I like to say, in the name of Allah, who appeared in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, July 4th, 1930, I like to bear witness that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the exalted living Christ, and I bear witness that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is simply the #1 student of those two men, and something more than our divine reminder and final warning to us all. In fact, the true relevance and importance of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan will be established and proven in the very near future, 10-10-15. So more on that later. This is very, very important. There's a couple of issues that I want to deal with, but before I get started, I want to give a special shout out of appreciation and gratitude towards Brother Sinetta from Sinetta TV. Much love. Brother Red Pill, who recently did a video that was defending the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and really, really saying a lot of powerful truths that it really felt good to hear the brother represent the conscious network. The brother, he made a couple of very important points when he says, talking about the so-called conscious community is not a community per se, but it's more of a network of so-called our conscious individuals that really need to get together, and this includes the Nation of Islam and others, to build that community of consciousness and self-awareness and self-determination and doing for self. So I'm going to try to implement, if it's all good with Brother Red Pill, I'm going to try to implement that particular terminology in my lexicon, the vocabulary, so that it's a conscious network that we have to stay together, and we have to, a network, what I mean? We have to cast our net and go to work. So shout out to Red Pill for the love. But in particular, I'm dealing with Sinetta, Brother Polite, Brother Sankofa. I think King Simon was in the building, Lost Sheep, the Brooklyn FOI, and other FOI in New York. I want to thank you all, and really sincerely, with my, with the greatest level of sincerity, how you all treated Brother Student Minister Nuri Muhammad when he was in New York, and he was, your guest on House of Consciousness. So for any of y'all who missed that interview, I really think it's very important that you listen to it, because Brother Nuri Muhammad, all praises due to Allah, represented the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Nation of Islam, and the believers very well. And I appreciate how Brother Polite, Sankofa, and Sinetta handled our brother. We were in communication prior to this particular meeting and interview, and Brother Polite and and Brother Sinetta assured me personally that they would treat Brother Nuri with the with the most respect that's due to him, utmost respect that's due to him, and treat him as a distinguished representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So I want to thank you all for keeping your promise and reaching out to me in terms of Brother Nuri and your intent. And I just appreciate the respect that you showed us, and really hollering at us and letting us know, the Lines Out the Cage, Brother Martin Muhammad, F. Muhammad, and myself, that you were going to treat Brother Nuri Muhammad with the utmost respect. He can handle his own, but it's just a beautiful thing that even though we've had a bit of a contentious relationship at times, we still brothers and we love one another. And so I appreciate Brother Sinetta and Polite reaching out to me to show some love and support, and I also appreciate your stance in regards to 10-10-15 in the Million Man March 20-year anniversary. So I definitely appreciate that. Now, that being said, very important for us to understand that as we move closer to 10-10-15, the wicked beast Satan and all of his minions, this includes the so-called Ashkenazi Jews, the Negro preachers, the Negro politicians, those individuals who fear the or else element of our call for justice and the 20-year anniversary of the Million Man March. Those individuals who are intimidated and afraid of the or else element of this particular march do not want to see the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan deliver this march, this message. There are secret councils right now of people who are determined to prevent this march from being successful. I want to hit various elements of this secret council in subsequent videos, but this particular one, I have to deal with the Abdul Khalid Muhammad. And you all heard it earlier in the video when the minister gave Brother Khalid Muhammad, our esteemed brother Khalid Muhammad, his name. I want you to go back and listen to that and really think about what is being said in context of what I'm about to say to you right now. I'm not bringing up old or agitating wounds. I think history, as the messenger said, is best qualified to reward all research. And I believe that the time that has passed since we've lost our great brother, the emotions have subsided to the point to where we can respectably and sincerely discuss a certain aspect of the Khalid Muhammad and Minister Louis Farrakhan relationship, dissolved relationship, in a way that can enlighten and inspire all of us to understand that you don't have to give up on Khalid or turn on Khalid to acknowledge certain truths, and you don't have to choose between Farrakhan or Khalid when we understand that it's a dynamic that exists within the broader context of black men struggling for self-determination and to overcome white supremacy as it yields or as it rears its ugly head. Now, this is very important. I'm going to take my time with you. It's not going to be too long. It's just a few points. And I don't know if I'm going to deal with Malcolm X on this particular video. And if I do, it's just to touch it a little bit because we got to deal with Malcolm X too. Because this is the thing now. You got agent provocateurs all on Facebook and in cyberspace. And they want to quickly remind us as we gaining momentum. And there's brothers and sisters who have banged on the minister and really been outspoken critics of the minister, but they're seeing what the minister is doing in the context of the greater call for justice and what this movement means to us as a people. And so as brothers and sisters who have traditionally or recently attacked the minister are putting down their swords of attack and their tongues of criticism in the spirit of the 20-year anniversary of the Million Man March, there are those in our community who are agent provocateurs who want to bring up the Khalid issue and the Malcolm issue. And these individuals are the tools of Satan, because as the momentum for the march grows and more people begin to support the minister, they meaning the dragon, Satan, the media, has to release a flood of propaganda that will sweep those who would support the minister off of their feet and cause them to abandon their support or take away their support because they have now created propaganda that agitates wounds and misrepresents the truth and plays with individuals' emotions, loyalties, and ties. I have much respect and admiration for Dr. Abdul Khalid Muhammad. I am a student and defender of the brand, the Nation of Islam brand. And Brother Khalid, no matter what happens in his history, he goes down as one of the primary ministers in our nation. We'll never forget Brother Khalid. Now, there's people on Facebook who want to suggest that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has something to do with Khalid's death. Outside of the fact that it makes no sense at all and is stupid as hell. The question becomes, what is the motive for saying that? Especially when you don't have any proof, facts, or evidence, and the minister has nothing to gain by seeking or even desiring the death of his brother. Let's understand something. These two individuals are brothers. And they had a disagreement, a philosophical, theological, military, protocol disagreement. You had a case of insubordination, which resulted in the leader, the one who is governing or guiding the nation of Islam here, to make a decision in terms of his minister. The philosophical and theological differences that we tend to use out of a show or a sign of loyalty to either Khalid or Brother Minister, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, at this moment in history does not matter. It is clear they had theological, philosophical, tactical, strategic differences. What is also clear, however, is that the brother minister Khalid Abdul Khalid Muhammad, he was given that name by the minister, and the name was given to him with specific instructions connected to it, and Brother Khalid took an oath to uphold not only the name but the spirit in which and of which the name was given to him by the one he claims is his spiritual father. I think time and wisdom, if Brother Khalid was here, since he's such a beautiful man and he's such a marvelous student, time and wisdom would cause a reflection that will allow Brother Khalid to think back over this dark period in our nation. And I believe that he himself would choose to do things a little bit differently. We can have philosophical, theological, strategic differences. And of course, I want to deal with these differences, just brush them, because again, I don't want to rehash any wounds. I come in the utmost respect of Dr. Khalid Abdul Khalid Muhammad. But the enemy is going to attack, and these niggas on Facebook and on the internet are now trying to use Khalid's name to shield their dirty religion, as if those individuals who claim Khalid are any way close to being Khalid. It's easy to get caught up in the rhetoric, and when I say rhetoric, I just mean the use of the verbal language, not rhetoric as far as useless language and just all talk, because Brother Khalid was not all talk. But I'm saying it's easy to get caught up in the words of Brother Khalid and be impressed with his oratory, his skills, his verbal skills, and his ability to talk and to speak and to kindle the warrior revolutionary spirit in the young black male and even the young black female. We cannot disregard or dismiss the beauty, talent, skills, and abilities and blessings that Allah gave Brother Dr. Khalid, Because it is these skills, these abilities, and this spirit that got the minister's attention in the first place, that caused Brother Khalid to be one of the closest ministers that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan had since he began to rebuild the Nation of Islam. I have to respect this topic because there's so many people that I respect and love and admire that hold Dr. Khalid Abdul Khalid Muhammad in a high regard, as I. But Farrakhan is here today, and he has a particular mission, and I will not allow, in the process of defending the brand of which Khalid belongs to, we are not going to allow hypocrites and agent provocateurs to undermine the unity that we are forging as we enter into 10-10-15. And anybody who attempts to use either Khalid or Malcom to justify a move against the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, these individuals are the direct tools and extension of Satan or the white devil themselves. Negroes is saying things about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that white people ain't even saying. And if you check the files of these particular individuals, you will see that they don't have any qualifications, credibility, or any type of voice or understanding or significance within the community or the network that we should even lend them an ear. So we have to question motives. Minister Khalid Muhammad was a military member of the Nation of Islam in general, and the Fruit of Islam in specific. It doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with the Nation of Islam when it comes to theology or philosophy or even tactics. But what you will not and you cannot disregard and contradict is the fact that the Nation of Islam in general and the FOI in particular are the most disciplined form and disciplined example of black men in America. Not just in America, in the world. We have an army that if you violate drugs, the law, restrictive law, if you do drugs, if you fornicate, if you commit adultery, if you lie on your brother, if you move on your brother's wife, if you disrespect a black woman, if you lust after her and stare at her and watch the movements of her body and plot on trying to get the black woman in bed. I'm not saying it's not done. I'm saying if you get caught, you get put out the nation. What other organization does that? You ain't supposed to smoke. We ain't supposed to drink. We can always slip and fall because we're not perfect. But we are a military structure that has laws and guidelines that produce the discipline reality that so many of you all have begun to admire and respect. The Nation of Islam in general and the Fruit of Islam in particular are disciplined soldiers who signed up and have went through training that consists of protocols, procedures, and a military way of doing things. Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad is not just a minister, he was a captain. As a captain, he was instructed or commissioned to make sure that all 12 general orders are in full effect. He was commissioned and he pledged and made an oath to uphold the Nation of Islam Constitution. He was commissioned and took an oath to enforce the restrictive laws of Islam. When given his name by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he took an oath in acceptance of the name and also the spirit in which the name was given. And in and of that spirit of the name was an expectation that was connected to it. So when you wear this name, you're not just wearing the name, you're wearing the definition and the expectation that comes with the name as given by your spiritual father. The minister on earth is the general of the Nation of Islam. He is the commander-in-chief. He's the top ranking black man in the military structure, and he's the top ranking black man in terms of office and position in the general structure of the Nation of Islam. We sign up in a structure that was developed by Master Fard Muhammad, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and it's reinforced through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. When the minister began to rebuild the Nation of Islam, it had less to do with acquiring buildings, even though it included such, but more to reestablish the military structure and discipline of the FOI and the Nation of Islam, the MGT and the GCC, that was polished and defined and refined by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad himself. Everyone in the Nation of Islam understands protocol, procedure, and military. And one of the things that made Brother Khalid worthy of wearing the name, the sword of Allah, or the sword of Islam, one who is praised much, to be considered a high servant of Allah, is not only his ability to speak fine words, but to demonstrate in his person a polished representation of what it means to be an FOI. So everybody who loves Dr. Khalid, you are in love with him because of his polished representation of being a fruit of Islam. Some of you all love the picture where he has the red, black, and green flag over his shoulder. And you love the gun. But many people have draped the red, black, and green over their shoulder and held the red, black, and green flag. And many people have held an AK-47 or a rifle. But what makes it significant for Dr. Khalid holding an AK-47 and having the red, black, and green? Because you see an FOI embracing your philosophy and doctrine. So your philosophy, the red, black, and green, and the AK-47 was buttressed and supported and highly represented. Meaning the level of your philosophy and your school of thought was enhanced because you seen a suited and booted, Farrakhan recruited, spit shined and polished FOI adorning your philosophical symbols. That's what made it so dope. You seen Dr. Khalid with a red, black, and green flag. You seen Dr. Khalid holding an AK-47. Anybody could have held it, but Dr. Khalid looked so good holding it, and it enhanced your image in the world. And it put an image of military into the conscious community or into the conscious network that up until that point had not existed. Period. It gave Pan-Africanists a militant representative where people can look at Pan-Africanists as not just a philosophical or a school of thought with a whole lot of people who know how to read and quote facts and articulate books. But now you have a military representative that denotes strength and power. But that strength and that power and that military was wrapped up in the identity that you call Khalid Muhammad. He brought the suited and booted, Farrakhan recruited, spit shined and polished FOI to your movement, and your movement automatically had a dramatic increase in credibility. All praises due to Allah. He gave you the image of a disciplined soldier who has embraced your philosophy. Even the old Black Panthers, even though we respect their contribution and what they did, they never had a Khalid who was shining, who was sharp, who was crisp and clean and polished. He was spit shine. He was shining, right? And he spoke with such fervor and universal truth that covered all the philosophies and school of thought pretty much that existed within our community. You can't give me a militant of the old Black Panther Party, the new Black Panther Party, the Pan-Africans, the so-called conscious community or network, the RBG, that's suited and booted like Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. You love him for how he represents your philosophy and your school of thought. But how he represents that school of thought and the most beautiful elements and praiseworthy. And the reason why we adore him so much is the training he received in the Nation of Islam via his direct contact with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Period. The minister, by the grace and permission of Allah, polished Khalid up and even gave him his name. How we know this is because because Khalid Muhammad said and continued to call the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan his spiritual father. That means he is the seed of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Something went wrong? We ain't really going to get into that. But I want you to think about that. Lean, clean, fighting machine was Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Where did he get that training? Where did he get that polish? If you take the Nation of Islam out of Khalid, what makes Khalid significant? It was his walking in his association with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and him being up underneath the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that gave Brother Khalid a full access into worlds that he would otherwise not be privy to or be a part of. All praises due to Allah. Khalid submitted himself and took an oath to obey the laws of Islam. He signed up for it. He gave his son the name Farrakhan. In the restrictive laws, you have members of the nation, do not participate in insubordination. We hear, we obey. Now, some of y'all ain't with that, but we are a military. And if our commander-in-chief, if our squad leader, if our lieutenant, if our captains give us an instruction, we hear, we salute, we obey, and we move out. This is the protocol. And in the military, if any one of the high-ranking officials or any official, and even the common foot soldier, violates the protocols of brotherhood and the restrictive law, each one of them are subject to discipline to the degree of the violation. We in the Nation of Islam do not have the privilege or the right to disobey direct orders unless the orders conflict with our religion. The brotherhood is subjected not to individuals. The brotherhood is based upon a code of ethic and honor that is rooted and established in the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad as given to us by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Period. Point blank. It is this reality that cleans us up and protects the integrity of the truth that we say we represent. As no insubordination, no slack talk, no fornication are part of the restrictive laws, as a captain, Dr. Khalid Muhammad gave individuals, both male and female, time out of the ranks in the mosque for violating restrictive laws, protocols in the military structure. He was sworn to uphold the laws of the nation. Now, red, black, and green, and everybody who's in between, listen. I don't care if you agree with our philosophical and theological ideas and teachings as it relates to the Nation of Islam, because you didn't sign up. But Dr. Khalid Muhammad wrote a letter, and he rose through the ranks, and the understanding that he had in the nation allowed him to execute judgment and to execute law when other brothers and sisters violated said law. Whether they disagreed, whether it was right or wrong, there is a structure, and there is also a constitutional, Nation of Islam constitutional avenue to address injustices if someone is treated unfairly under the name or under the auspices of doing the law. Very important. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So, being in a military, which not too many of us have been in, there's a rule, there are rules, there's protocols, there's a military structure that we all sign up for. And all of us in the ranks have someone that we report to, and we submit to their authority. Some of you all can't handle that. Some of you all don't want to deal with that. Therefore, you don't join the nation. You can't keep a job. You can't graduate. You can't get a degree. You can't keep a wife. You can't keep a husband. You can't take care of your children, because just some of y'all just don't want to follow no damn rules, and can't nobody tell you a goddamn thing. Some of y'all want to do what the hell you want to do. Some of y'all think it's okay, no matter how smart you are, you can be conscious, you can be whatever you think you are, but it's okay for you to mack your brother's wife. It's okay for you to sleep with your next door neighbor. It's okay for you to try to bag your wife's best friend. It's okay. It's okay for you to drink. It's okay for you to smoke. It's okay for you to lie. It's okay for you to gossip. It's okay for you to slander, to backbite, to lie on people, to do dirt, to do crime in the name of revolution. I know that's okay, but that ain't military. That's nigga business. Smart nigga business. I'm a smart nigga who can quote some books. I can read a couple things. I learn a few truths, and then I talk about I'm blacker than you, I'm blacker than you, and I'm better than you, and we walk around looking like some Keystone cops, some toy soldiers. Being a soldier in this struggle is more than buying some BDUs and go sewing some stripes on your stuff. 1, 2, 3 stripes, 4, 5, 6 stripes. Where did you get your stripes? You can't just call yourself a general unless you have some soldiers. What work have you put in? Now, since you ain't bodying nobody, and since you ain't freeing no land, and you ain't defending no land, and you ain't erecting no schools, and you ain't building no hospitals, and you ain't causing no bloodshed, you ain't letting off no rounds, except maybe at the gun range. What qualifies you as a soldier? Because you can talk? Because you call yourself a general? Because you call yourself a soldier? You call yourself a revolutionary? But you a nigga dressed up in BDUs acting like a white man? You oppress your children, you oppress your women, you oppress your community. You a liar, you a thief, you a cheat. You have no code, you have no honor, you don't respect the elders, you don't respect the hierarchy of our community. You don't have no discipline, so you want to have a disagreement with your teacher. So the first thing you want to do is take to the airwaves and expose what you think is dirty laundry. You want to take the information you have, make videos, and go report to your enemy, talking crazy about the brother that you just signed or swore your allegiance to. Treachery and betrayal. Some of you all are friends right now in the same conscious network, and y'all are trying to get at each other's wives. Some of you so-called conscious sisters is getting at each other's husbands. Treachery and treason. No discipline. Then you get upset, and the first thing you want to do is create a video slandering and defaming and tearing down your brother and your sister because you got a misunderstanding or a disagreement. And so now you want to get on the airwaves and you want to get into your community and you get on the telephone talking each other's business, trying to gather or rally support behind you so you can hurt the position in the stance, in the status, in the class, in the reputation of your brother or your sister. And 9 times out of 10, the disagreement is some bullshit. But you call yourself revolutionary and you call yourself militant. You're not militant. You're a nigga who read a book and you put on some BDUs and you sold Africa on you. You're flabby, you're sick, you ain't working out. You don't know you don't know how to fight. You don't have no discipline. And then you use as your representative Dr. Khalid. That's a good representative. Now show me everybody who loves Dr. Khalid, which I do. Show me another Dr. Khalid in your organization, in your community. This is not disrespect. I'm trying to get you to look at something. There is a manufacturing plant or factory that produces Khalid Muhammad's, and it's the Nation of Islam. You don't see them because you're not in the ranks. There's only one Khalid, but we got brothers across the nation and sisters across the nation that ain't no joke. They'll kill concrete. They don't have to carry a gun. Because when the police or a silly nigga comes at them with a gun, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad bin Mr. Louis Farrakhan say, we don't have to carry a gun because the gun that the enemy is carrying becomes ours when we take it and use it on them. We don't have to carry a gun. You carrying it for us. We are disciplined. Yes, we have more potential to get even better and better and stronger. But make no doubt about it, we are the best that the black man and black woman has to offer in the wilderness of North America and all over the planet Earth. You don't see no soldiers in the FOI with a cigarette in their mouth, with pipe burns on their lips. You don't see that. The most thing you might see is an overweight FOI, and we got to get that under control. But what you ain't going to see is a sloppy built, slow moving FOI or MGT. Period. So if you get with the training of the FOI, keep your philosophical understanding in your school of thought. The minister has opened up the FOI class so you all can come in and get some training and some discipline, and you can excel the reputation and the progress of the organization that you belong to. You can come right on in and we'll train you and help you become a better representation of what it is you say you claim. Khalid Muhammad, Dr. Khalid bin Muhammad, is a fruit, meaning result of Islam, period. And he took himself, which was a fruit of Islam, a former captain and a minister in the nation, and he rebuilt, by the grace and permission of Allah, the new Black Panther Party. Now, where are those who resemble Dr. Khalid's discipline and polish? Where they at? See, you can't claim a man in name but reject him in spirit, lest you find yourself undermining the true power and significance of that man. True honor is not Khalid Muhammad. True honor is to mirror his image, to take what he has of value and you grow it into your unique personality and expression. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the soldier of all soldiers that we have today. But the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the product of the mind and structure of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, who he is, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, a product of the mind and the structure that Master Farad Muhammad produced beginning in 1930. Period. That being said, when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan chose to discipline Dr. Khalid Muhammad, we are taught that when you make a mistake in public, you have to clean it up in public. That is the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. When Malcolm X was trying to get back into the Nation of Islam after he took his disagreements with his teacher to the white devil on television and spread his misunderstanding or his dissatisfaction to other people, which start or lit a fire in the nation and outside of the nation. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told Brother Malcolm, yes, brother, go back and put out those fires that you started. Because if you make a mistake in public, you have to have the humility and the military mind to clean it up in public. You don't make a mistake in public and apologize in private. And if you make a mistake in private, the Nation of Islam in its structure will not publicize that. The Nation of Islam is a vanguard in a security structure that is set up and designed to keep the flaws of our nation, the Nation of Islam and the broader nation of black people, out of the public view. That's the reason why the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan always goes to the defense of his brothers, even if he's in disagreement with them, because our disagreements are ours, not theirs. Meaning the enemy. So we should clean up our madness or our mistakes in private. Unless we have public figures who represent our cause that make a mistake in the public, we have to correct it in the public lest we lose our integrity and our claim of code and honor and military. That if we make a mistake, we can stand in front of the world and take it and keep on rolling. In the case of Malcolm and Khalid, unfortunately, we have two examples of individuals who did not do good under their trial. Because it's difficult when you're being brought up in the public eye, especially if you really don't see any flaw in what you're saying and you think you're right. It's difficult to be disciplined, criticized in front of other people. But Brother Malcolm and Brother Khalid were commissioned and took an oath to make sure that they defend and enforce the very laws that they felt it difficult to follow. I'm going to leave it like this, and I'm going to come with part two, and I'm going to deal with I just got an idea. I want to keep on dealing with this and share a couple of things with you in the history of Brother Khalid and Malcolm. But I want you all to understand something as you criticize the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. This is the minister's brother. And the minister has relationships and knows Khalid beyond what we think we know. In fact, none of you all know Dr. Khalid Muhammad like the minister knows him. Period. I don't care how close you are to him, you don't know him like the minister knows him. There had to be something significant for the minister to name Dr. Khalid Muhammad what he named him. And there had to be a significant reality that caused Dr. Khalid, who's not a buster, he don't kiss behind, he ain't no sellout. Why would he, Khalid Muhammad, name his son Farrakhan? There has to be a level of admiration and respect and honor. And you don't know the conversations and what took place towards the end of Dr. Khalid's life. Now, he said certain things, right? Well, let's just check it out. Check this out. Check what the minister says right now. Check this out.
Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam claim they are moving toward moderation and increased tolerance. You decide. Minister Farrakhan spoke in Washington this afternoon.
Recent events surrounding the remarks by one of my ministers is causing intense concern among many people. Brother Khalid Abdul Muhammad spoke at Keene College at the invitation of the students. The students chose his subject for him. During the speech, Brother Khalid made remarks that were not consistent with the proper representation of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, his teachings and guidance, myself, and the Nation of Islam. I found the speech, after listening to it in context, vile in manner, repugnant, malicious, mean-spirited, and spoken in mockery of individuals and people, which is against the spirit of Islam. While I stand by the truths that he spoke, I must condemn in the strongest terms the manner in which those truths were represented. I therefore have dismissed Brother Khalid from his post as minister, representative, and national assistant until he demonstrates that he is willing to conform to the manner of representing Allah, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, his truth, his guidance, aim and his purpose for us in America in a manner that would be pleasing to Allah, his messenger, myself, and the nation. I have an internal and secret document put out by the Civil Rights Division of the Anti-Defamation League this January. This document reveals their strategy for dealing with Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. The ADL raises the question, does Farrakhan's acceptance by the mainstream black community represent a newfound tolerance for anti-Semitism which the ADL must fight with every weapon at our disposal? What do these weapons include? One of the weapons identified by the ADL and mentioned in their document is their exploitation of, quote, some of the nation's top black political and civil rights leaders who have long been envious of Farrakhan's ability to reach large, enthusiastic audiences.
All right, y'all see that. Now listen. Check this out. You heard what he said. Many of you all felt that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan threw Dr. Khalid underneath the bus. The minister clearly stated that what Dr. Khalid Muhammad was saying was the truth, and he stands by the truth. But the way he did it was against the spirit of Islam. Now, this is what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan preaches, and he demonstrates. There's a way you can get at the enemy, that you can tear him up, but you still do not undermine the effectiveness or or the brilliance of your argument by trivializing it through too much mockery and shock value. The truth is shocking enough, and Brother Khalid Muhammad is such a brilliant warrior in the cause of Islam that he knows how to make an effective point and make the enemy look like a little bitty baby without deploying or employing the tactics that he chose to use that put the Nation of Islam in a position to where they had to defend and answer things that it should not have had to deal with. The moral authority and the ethical argument of truth is what allows the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to hold the enemy on the point to where they just have to deal with the truth of the argument, and he will not be accused of being a rabble rouser or one who is just spitting useless rhetoric that is designed to make mockery of another people and to reduce the humanity of other people, even though certain individuals who claim to be human, their ways and their actions and what they do undermines that humanity. But we're not in that business. We're in the business to spit a straight truth with some fire that allows everyone to see the moral correctness and ethical standard of integrity as it relates to disseminating truth, so that we in our argument will not be wiped aside or dismissed because it is delivered in a way that offends the ear. So let me close it with this. For you all who felt like you love the messenger, you love Khalid, but you have a problem with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. The messenger said, February 25th, 1974, which is the last Savior's Day he did before he departed, February 25th, 1975. The lecture that he did exactly 1 year before he departed, he said this: you don't disrespect people that is trying to respect you. I remember the last time that I was out to the airport, they let me and my followers get on first. Now remember that their flag is still flying over America. Honor and respect the man because he still has his flag. The messenger said, you don't need guns. Guns you don't need. You see the Muslims and myself walking and riding around this civilization without arms. We handle sometimes 10,000 people at a gathering. We strip them of their arms and let them go into our meeting place, and you never come around saying that we had to go kill some of the Muslims because they were being other than themselves. We don't carry weapons. We don't need weapons if we have God on our side. What do we need with weapons for? June 18th, 1972. You can disagree with the messenger. Philosophically, you can do it. Strategically. But you dissing the minister because the minister is representing the messenger. And the messenger said no guns. Khalid started carrying a gun after he was dismissed from the nation. Some say he was carrying a gun when he was with the nation. That's a whole nother story. What does the messenger say about respecting white people? There's much that can be interchanged between them and us in that way of respect. We don't have to get up to try to make fun of them just because you have learned yourself. And now you have learned them. Just remember that they show you respect after you have learned yourself. Show them respect then. Show them respect too. Because when you didn't know yourself, you didn't respect self nor anyone else. February 25th, 1974. Here's something else he says. We used to disgrace ourselves and them too because we didn't know ourselves. But now we respect ourselves and we respect them. Praise be to Allah. If you go out there disrespecting the owner of this land, They are the owners as long as they are in power. I think you will be showing disrespect for the high honor that has been conferred on you and me by God. You have to respect everybody, and everybody will respect you. Is this not the example that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has grown into? I say grown into because the minister said at a certain point he would go back and listen to his old tapes, and he humbly says and admits that he didn't like his old tapes because he sounded so arrogant and cocky. So he has grown, and he understands the power of rhetoric and how you can say a certain truth in a certain way that can cause unnecessary hardship on the nation. We'll deal with that when we talk about Malcolm X. This is a wise man that fortunately have lived long enough to grow into a higher level of wisdom and understanding. And those of us who are young, who have yet to obtain such a lofty position or high position of wisdom and understanding, we judge a wise man because we fools and we don't understand. February 25th, 1974. God give way to them to rule. Then you're honoring their ruler. As long as they are in power to rule, then respect them. This I mean from my heart. Everywhere we go, respect people, and people will respect you. Don't think that you are so great now just because God promised you the kingdom. Wait till you get it. Here's another one. My beloved brothers and sisters, God has come and he visited us. He don't mean for us to waste our time looking to see who can we make mock of. Look and try and show people that if you mock, disrespect, that God did not raise us up to repeat the same. We must show the world that we are a righteous people trying to set up the characteristics in our people of righteousness. February 25th, 1974. The messenger said, we don't want our people acting unrighteous. Regardless to who's acting unrighteous by us, we must not do so ourselves if we represent ourselves as being righteous people. We be righteous. If we say there goes the devil, then don't try and practice after him if you say you are righteous. Show the devil that you are a righteous person because he's watching you for such. Since you say now that you are righteous, then prove it. And if you say he's not righteous, he will say he was not his maker. And that will shut your mouth or stop your mouth. He said, you call a white man the devil. He said, okay, well, I didn't make myself. You the original man. You made me. So what? February 25th, 1974. He did not make himself. It is our kind that made him. So if you want to make mock that which you have made, he could easily tell you that I am not responsible for my make. You made me yourself, your kind. Let us remember these words. There is lots that we must learn to do to show forth to the world who we are. We are not raised up to sit around and make mock of people. No, we are raised up to show the world what righteousness looks like and how it feels to be righteous. Clearing a man of his past and putting him on the right road. This is a wonderful thing. We can go on, and I'm going to get into inshallah, Malcolm and Khalid a little bit more deeper because I want you all to understand. But the crux of my argument, because I got notes for you, is simple and plain. We're criticizing the minister because the minister is following the teachings and the protocol of the military structure of the Nation of Islam. When Dr. Khalid went to King College and he was kicking the truth that he was doing, the truth was what the truth was, but we are taught not to make mockery. They began to use the words of Dr. Khalid against the nation and the integrity of our movement. as the minister was he was positioning the nation and beginning to move the nation in a certain direction. Protocol had been taught and given. And when military protocol and structure or commandments and we're being taught how to do things, and we have a particular agenda, then we say, when we hear and get instructions, we say, yes, sir. No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No, sir. We salute and we follow instructions. If we disagree, we have a way to honorably and respectfully, within the military structure of the Nation of Islam, to address our grievances. The only reason why any of you all were aware of Malcolm X or Dr. Khalid Muhammad violating or even getting in trouble in the nation is because their violations were they're disobeying of orders, of direct orders that were given to their office, given to them through their officer in command, the commanding officer, the higher authority. And they made their mistake in public. The Nation of Islam does not put its business in public. So if Dr. Khalid up to that point were having issues, you wouldn't know about it. If Malcolm X was having issues, you wouldn't know about it. If Brother Philip is having issues, you wouldn't know about it. Because we have rules that if I do something foul and I get put out the nation, there are other rules that says other Muslims who are not put out the nation cannot go and slander and backbite and rumor and, gossip and spread gossip and rumor to other people, even if it's the truth concerning somebody who got put out the nation. So you won't know about any infraction I have made unless I myself choose to tell you about it. And this goes from the top all the way to the bottom, all the way to the top. However, if we make a mistake in public, the military protocol and structure of the Nation of Islam says that we have to clean it up and deal with it in public. That's what gives us integrity. There is an internal structure of the Nation of Islam that I'm referencing that you all might not understand. But we don't make mockery. We don't undermine the truth of our message by turning tricks and putting on a red nose. And if we make a mistake, you own up to it, you get your whooping, and you come back a better man or better woman, because we are in the business of developing and growing from one stage to the next. In each step, we're supposed to get better and better, more effective, more productive, and more polished. And when you see a polished soldier such as Khalid, he knows protocol, he knows military, he knows structure, he enforces it. So we thank Allah for what he has done for the nation, as well as the conscious network in general. But we will not allow the minister, following the clear instructions of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, to allow you all to say that the minister betrayed Dr. Muhammad. That's whack. There can be philosophical differences, but this is the Nation of Islam and it's a military. And you wouldn't know about the internal structure of the Nation of Islam if it wasn't for agents, hypocrites, undisciplined soldiers, or brothers and sisters making their mistakes in public. So for any sucker or nigger who would suggest that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, in cahoots with the government, plotted to kill Dr. Khalid Muhammad, first of all, the thought shows that you stupid as hell, and the thought shows that you are an agent provocateur, and you're trying to create mischief that is very dangerous. to suggest that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan would sell out Dr. Khalid for what? For what? We love Dr. Khalid, and I appreciate the reality that he produced. We have soldiers, but we don't fight like the enemy. We're not loud and boisterous, even though we speak strong and powerful. But we have a discipline. If I'm talking right now, I have to be very careful, because the oath that I've taken to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in the structure of the Nation of Islam, I cannot allow my points that I am trying to make to undermine the military and discipline structure that I did not create, but I signed my name to and took an oath to enforce as well as submit to. Some of you all don't understand this. So, Dr. Khalid and Brother Malcom fell victim to the law that they signed up and took an oath to. Listen, and they have administered the same law to other brothers and sisters in the Nation of Islam. The test is, as we rise, or Allah lifts us up in power. That goes for Red Pill, Sonetta, Sara, Suten, Seti, Polite. All of these brothers and sisters who would like to be leaders or spokesmen within their community. Do you have integrity? Do you have a code of honor? Do you have a high sense of ethics? Do you have a moral compass and a sense of moral obligation as it relates to your people and how you treat your brothers? Do we slander and backbite and get on the telephone because we have a disagreement with one another, and we tell each other's stories or tell each other's problems and conditions? We have to come up out of this nigger behavior, because it's the nigger behavior that is going to erode or destroy our ability to stay unified. Re-listen to what the minister said when he gave Dr. Khalid the name. And understand, regardless to what you believe, do not let your philosophical differences with the Nation of Islam undermine your understanding that Dr. Khalid Muhammad was part of a military structure that he not only signed up for, he represented it, and he enforced it. And at a time that when the minister had to check him, it seems as if he couldn't take it. But I know, I can feel it, that if Dr. Khalid was here, being such a wise man, he would understand that the checking and the whooping would only strengthen the credibility of the nation as well as himself. This is what we saw when Dr. Wesley Muhammad got in trouble or displeased. He really disappointed the minister in terms of his Django type of reference when he delivered a lecture at Mos Mariam. But he came back and he acknowledged his mistake, and he kept on pushing. He acknowledged his mistake and he kept on pushing. We all make mistakes. And when you can acknowledge your mistakes and acknowledge your weaknesses, the enemy and the hypocrites and the agents cannot hold anything against you. There's really nothing that I've done or will do that I'm scared that's going to get out. Listen, what can you tell me about a woman? What can you tell me about? I'm not no homosexual. I ain't no faggot. I ain't doing dope. What can you say about me? I ain't no child molester. What can you say about me? You ain't going to see me at a titty bar. What can you really say about me? You're not going to say. You might say I owe somebody some money. Hell, maybe that, right? But you ain't going to say that I'm sleeping with somebody's wife. You ain't going to say that I'm lying on a brother. You ain't going to say that I'm stealing something from my brother or my sister. You ain't going to say that I'm stalking women and trying to get with them. I ain't sleeping with strippers. I ain't doing none of that by the grace and permission of Allah. And if I don't do none of those things, I say all praise is due to Allah, and I thank him for the Nation of Islam and the military structure that allowed me to grow out of being a nigger into an aspiring guy and representative of the truth. That don't mean I'm perfect. That don't mean I don't make mistakes. But neither are you. And Khalid made a mistake, and Brother Malcolm made a mistake, and all of us have made mistakes. And we pray to God, and we say to ourselves, grant us protection against all of our faults, for none grants protection against faults but thee. Turn away from us the evil and the indecent morals, for none turns away from us the evil and indecent morals, evil and indecent morals but thee. We all have grown up in Satan's backyard, in Satan's playground. And none of us are going to get out of this with bumps and abrasions and scars and wounds, running around in hell. I want to say to the Amin Ra squad or the radio show, I want to come on your show because you all have a problem with the nation and Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I want you to be able to ask me any questions, Scientology, Malcolm X, Khalid Muhammad, anything you want to say. And we can stay on the line as long as you want to stay on the line. And if you come in the right spirit, I will sit there by the grace and permission of Allah, and we will answer the questions that you have and the criticism that you have of the Nation of Islam. But I believe if we go into the right spirit, I believe that all of us will come up with a greater respect for one another, even if we don't agree. But the side dissing gotta stop. That goes for Irritated Genie. That goes for anybody else who's slipping out of their mouth. That goes for Dr. Umar Johnson. Any of you all who have a problem with the minister in the Nation of Islam, call me. We'll have a conversation. You can make it public. You smarter than me. You more intelligent than me. You have more truth than me. Praise be to Allah. Show and prove. But if not, stop that BS, because we're going into 10-10-15 and we have to have a united front. And the minister told us in Chicago to go back and settle our differences. So it is in this spirit that I'm sharing you this information. And I pray to God that you understand the spirit. This is not a knock on Khalid. We all be tripping. He didn't grow. The minister's 82 years old. You don't think he made mistakes? But Allah has blessed him to grow and be a wise leader, more than a leader. He is a man that has been around long enough in our community, in our network, for us to respect and honor, just as Red Pill said. We don't have to agree on everything. But what we do have to agree on, with no exception, that we will not disrespect the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan or degrade him in public, when he has never came out. Even in dealing with Khalid, he tried to do it respectful. And y'all been beating the hell out of him because of Scientology and all these different things. I want to make a video on Scientology. I really want Ishmael Bay, whoever the Bay dude brother is, I forgot his name. If you think you know Scientology and you think the minister sold out to Scientology, let's have a conversation. Either that, take down your videos. Quit banging on the minister with these videos, calling the minister out of his name. I'm giving you an opportunity. Take the videos down. Let's have a conversation. We can debate Scientology and Dianetics, but if you're a coward, you're not going to have the conversation. If you feel like you have the better argument, throw down your argument. But if you don't take all of those Scientology, Minister Louis Farrakhan bashing videos down within a certain amount of time, then I'm going to take it upon myself to create videos, cutting and pasting and snipping what you're saying, and I'm going to destroy it, number one. And number two, I'm going to humiliate you as a buster who want to make a video, but you can't get on the line with me and talk man to man. So who in the hell is you? So either take the videos down or have a conversation with me and defend your position. Anything other than that is whackness and sissified. Clean it up. We're going into 10-10-15. Allah built himself up out of 10,000 parts. That means the God consciousness, the God reality has 10,000 different schools of thought, and all of them make up what we call Islam, which is mathematics and a continuous state of harmony and peace. So This is your opportunity. As we move to 10, 10, 15 and the stakes get higher and our enemies are moving to arrest and kill the minister. As a member of the Nation of Islam in the FOI, and some of you all think that we've gotten soft. But let me say this in humility and with respect. In our softness, we're more disciplined and harder than most of you are. And we, in our humility, desire to give you all the training that we have. You don't even have to take the religion. You don't have to take the philosophy. The minister has opened up the class so that you can get the same discipline and training that we have. Stop hating on the nation because you disagree philosophically or based on this theology. Special message to Sara, Suten, Seti. I would like to have a conversation with you too, brother. There has been disrespect. We have to settle our differences. In public, on videos, disrespecting the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, saying he's part of the Illuminati. You got pictures of him doing hand signals because in the video he's doing his hand, and now all of a sudden you got a freeze frame and you're saying, see? You're literally saying that the minister is in bed with the white man and that he's a sellout. Yet you and others call yourself generals and soldiers. But in front of the very enemy that you say is the devil and our biggest enemy, you are offering up the head of the minister and others. That is snitch move. That right there, if you a G, that's what you don't do. You don't make videos calling this person an Illuminati person. You don't say he's this. Who are you? You exposing the minister? For what? So you can get a speaking engagement? So some silly niggas in a classroom can give you $100 and you fly your ass from Detroit to wherever you go so you can talk crazy against the minister? Man, clean it up. And all that rah-rah comedy stuff that you do, man, stop it, man. You ain't no general. The minister is the general and the commander-in-chief. You're valuable, you're intelligent. Very, very intelligent and articulate. But you sloppy in your demonstration. If you military, act like you military. Don't telegraph your punches. Keep them straight. Have some discipline. The devil see you coming a mile away. You say, well, Brother Philip, what are you? Well, this is my mission. My mission is to get at my people and settle the differences. And I'm trying the best that I can to be respectful, yet sincere in my criticism and how I rebuke you and what you're doing. But it's out of the spirit of love. So shout out to Sonetta, Polite, and others. We need to have a quick conference in New York. King Simon, set it up. Let's have a private meeting. All of us. Dr. Umar Johnson, Polite, Seti, all of us. Let's have a private meeting, and then we come out in public and we discuss in public and show and discuss our differences, and we settle our differences in the public. So that those of us who are in our camps will not continue to fight and kill one another and create an environment or climate of distrust and a lack of unity when we need it the most. If you don't have integrity or the ethical standard or the nutsack to sit down and dialogue with your brothers, what good is it that you claim you love black people? Yet you quick to offer up black people because you disagree, as if you know everything. Stop it. I'm going to create a video for you Hebrew Israelite dudes who like to yell on the corner and talk crazy, and y'all been dissing the minister, calling him a nigga. I got to deal with you too. If you disagree, you disagree. But I guarantee you, all of you, I don't know how to say your crazy names. I understand what you're doing, but I notice you do it downtown. You do it in the public spotlight. You call a minister a nigga and disrespect the minister and call and say certain things that you're saying in the wrong neighborhood. You wouldn't do it. You can yell at some yuppies and some buppies and some Negroes walking up and down downtown. Call them out their name. Humiliate them. Who does that? That you claim Jesus and you claim the Bible and your whole methodology is to humiliate, degrade, embarrass, and shame. Your doctrine has you are attempting to lower the self-esteem and the manhood and the womanhood of those individuals who you say are the chosen of God. You calling them stinking Africans. You sound like a white devil because you read some damn book and you studying it and you're saying the stinking Africans. Who talks like that? Yet you sitting up on the corner wearing a goddamn Power Ranger outfit and a Commodore wrestling belt, and you think you a killer, or you think you're talking loud and you don't even have a program. Who does that? And you disrespecting the minister. What I want you to do, Mr. Hebrew man, with the bullhorn and reading the damn Bible, do this. Next time you quote the Bible, I want you to read King James Version. And read King James Version. Keep saying it. Because you talking about the crazy, dirty, rotten Africans. You're talking about the white man. But you screaming about a book that was translated by the white man with the King James stamp of approval on it. And your whole methodology, your whole program is to degrade and humiliate black people. That's low self-esteem. Y'all must got small penises or something. It got to be something crazy that will make you stand on a corner with a bullhorn and your whole desire is to ruin somebody's day. That's crazy. Get it under control. It's interesting that I don't see y'all in Compton, in Watts, in Long Beach, in the hood, standing, I don't see you in the 60s. I don't see you on Hoover. I don't see you on Slauson. I don't see you on Crenshaw. I don't see you on Dinker, right? I don't see you on Van Ness. I don't see you on Inglewood. Listen, I don't see you in Long Beach. I don't see you in Watts. I don't see you on Central. I don't see you on Avalon. Rosecrans. Yelling at Crips and Bloods when they walk by. You ain't at the Slauson swap meet yelling and talking about filthy Africans and screaming at Crips and Bloods because you know better. You ain't knocking on doors having a civilized conversation with your people. You know that the white man is the devil, so you say, and your people are a victim of a systematic programming that makes them or conditions them to reject the truth. And you're going to be great. You're going to degrade them and talk crazy to them. You're going to shame that anybody in your organization that responds to that type of method got to be punks. Because a real man, listen, a crossing guard better be careful how they put that stop sign up in my face. A referee on a basketball game, at a basketball game or a football game, if I'm playing ball, better be careful how loud they blow that whistle. Don't blow it in my ear. The police, when I pull over, they got to be careful on how they ask me for my license and registration. What I'm saying is men respond to men. Women respond to women. Women respond to men. You don't degrade and humiliate. And anybody comes into your school of thought because they were yelled at, screamed at, humiliated, who are you dealing with? You're dealing with somebody who's soft, who has low self-esteem, who don't have no friends, who don't have no homeboys, who's broke, and probably got small dicks. That's what it is. So I'm asking you to stand down. If you want to have some theological and philosophical debate with me, All of you big name dudes who be on the House of Consciousness, let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Let's talk. You ain't got to do all that growling and doing all that stuff. And please, man, when you read the Bible, man, keep it low. I don't want you yelling. I want to understand what you're saying. And check this out. Check this out. Can we have a conversation without the Bible? But if we don't, let's have the Bible. We can keep the Bible, but let me ask you some questions in your book. Because all that highlighting and knowing what you're going to say because you're leading the conversation and you're bullying from your pulpit, that ain't going to work with me. It's not. And it's not going to work with anybody who's a true student of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. There is not a philosophy or school of thought that defeats the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Because the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, whether you know it or not and accept it or not, encompasses all the teachings. Period. The only thing that trips us up is the language, the expression of the truth. But the truth stands as it is. And the truth don't have to yell, and the truth don't have to condemn. The truth doesn't have to scream and berate and degrade. The truth, you just drop it. That don't mean you can't yell and talk crazy. I like to yell and talk crazy a little bit to get your attention. But at the same time, I don't like to degrade and dehumanize and make another black man look weak. Because I don't want to be around weakness. And the mission and the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is to strengthen my people. Now, the white man, the cracker, we can do whatever. But even that, the honorable Elijah Muhammad has given us instructions as far as making mockery and making ourselves look like the savages that our enemy has been for well over 400 years, actually 6,000. So it's late. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. This is the base of something else I'm going to talk about. I got to get back into Malcom. I'm going to get back into Khalid, inshallah. And I want to make specific videos for specific people and challenge them to either have a conversation with me so we can settle our differences, or just go ahead and take that nonsense off of Facebook, take that nonsense off of YouTube, because you had a change of heart, position, or you realize that right now we don't need distractions. Our enemy is about to try to make the minister look wrong to prevent him for calling for justice or else. Either you love black people or you don't. Either you want to see the oppressed people of the planet free or you don't. But we're going to have to settle our differences and we're going to have to call it what it is. And I pray that you experience or you hear these words in the spirit that I'm giving them, not from the spirit of defense, because I'm your homie. I'm 45 years old. Don't let the age fool you. And I'm your brother. And we love Dr. Khalid because he's a FOI. He is a polished fruit of Islam. And we should be like Dr. Khalid. He's a brilliant black man. But we should also understand that when we make mistakes in public, we should have the nuts to admit our wrong and correct ourselves in public, lest we have no integrity. And again, to my Hebrew family, yes, you're the chosen people of God. You're the real children of Israel. And all of our peoples are victims, and you talking crazy against the Africans. Where did you get that from? The whole earth belongs to us, and you're going to let a Bible define you? Stop it. It's foolish. And you can scream and yell all damn day, but you sound like an idiot, destroying the character and the self-esteem of your own people, especially when white people are watching you. Terrible. And you have no success. You have no program. You're not having many converts. You can't punk people into submission. The FOI don't make punks. The Nation of Islam don't make punks. Muhammad don't make punks. We make men. And we make women. And that's the reason why the weakest of the FOI, not even saying, if such there be, but the weakest of the FOI ain't no punks. Straight up. We will stare down Satan in his wicked blue eyes, and we will stand with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and you've never even heard. There has never been a rumor of an FOI running from his duty or running from a fight. You ain't even heard about it. You can't even think. You make mockery of the final call and the bean pie, but you do it on video. You don't do it in our face. We love you. But most of us have come through the ranks, and we've come from the streets or the penitentiary. And many of us who came from the college and universities, man, we ain't never been punks. You got to have a certain level of courage and heart to rep this truth. Period. You can't be no punk carrying the truth. That goes for men and women. So I had enough with y'all right now. We'll come back with another part 2 because I got to deal specifically with Khalid, and I have to deal specifically with Malcolm X. And for y'all who want to change my words and spread some stuff that Brother Philip is talking crazy against the RBGs and the Pan-Africans and the conscience, y'all ain't listening. Holla at me. Reach out to me. You want to have this conversation, Amin Ra Squad, Ishmael Bey, Sara, Suten, Seti, you want to have a conversation? Let's have a conversation. All right? Let's do it. Peace.